Hey. Hey, guys. Yeah, I got a fever. I'm visibly sweating. Welcome to GORP. That, of course, stands for gooey orifices and runny pipes. My name is Josh.
Fry.
Hey, Fry. Today we're going to talk about sick days. What do you think of that?
I think it's ideal for the situation we're in. I think the audience has already noticed we're missing, Brooker and Jessica and Julie as a fill-in, and the TheSadFan team was going to fill in, and they're sick too. So I think it's ideal.
And I have the new flu, which is just a really, really fucking high fever.
That sounds like a heavy metal band. The new flu.
Trying to do my new flu. But today I'm going to try to do my Jordan in the finals moments and put out the best content you've ever seen. So we're talking about sick days. So our prop today, the grab bag, is tissue box. It's the Excalibur of all sick days. How often do you get sick, buddy?
Not often, luckily, but when I do, I'm a big baby for sure. I will say that.
Big time.
Don't like to move, when you like that.
Yeah, I just moan every exhale. Yeah, it's great. So let's get started, eh? Let's pull the first one out.
Let's dig into that tissue.
You got your worst time. Ooh, that's not really focusing well. It says worst time, so
worst time.
That could mean the worst time you've been sick or the worst time to be sick.
Well, I mean, it's just the two of us who got time. I mean, let's see if we can do both really quick as we get through these and try to get you healthy.
Sure.
So the worst time to be sick would be like on a vacation, right? Like if it hits you right,
dude. Yep. That happened to me. I caught a pretty nasty fever. I just got back from deployment, and like a month later, I used some of that money to bring my mom up to Italy, where I was stationed, and so we spent like a week or so traveling. We went to all different, like Rome and Florence and all this stuff.
Yeah,
and it was pretty great. But like the last 2 days, I just had to go home because I was just dreadfully sick. So I just left my mom in Venice and had to go home.
I just got this image of like you like just leaving in the middle of the night and your mom coming down with like her little like sun hat on and everything ready to go in the lobby, and she's like,
"No,
where's Josh?"
No, it was like the morning, and I was like, "Mom, I can't do this. I'm gonna make this trip horrible for you." So I just limped my way to the Ferrovia, the train.
Yeah,
and went back to my duty station. It was like an hour away, and that was that. I mean, she was delayed in Italy for longer because that volcano went off. Remember that volcano, like 2012 or something? That
I don't remember that.
Like all flights in Europe were canceled because I think it was in Iceland or something. Volcano just did massive.
I do remember. Okay. I thought you were saying in Italy a volcano went off, and I was like, the only one I can think of is Vesuvius, and that was like Pompeii.
Still active, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was.
Go ahead. That was weird.
You go ahead.
Okay, all right. No. I was going to say, if it went off, it would be the largest natural disaster as far as deaths are concerned in human history, is what I read, because like the population around there.
Really?
Yeah, we were reading about it online.
Oh yeah. I went and saw Naples, and I went to Pompeii as well, same place, and that place is just packed with houses, all the way up the mountain. Like, why are you guys living here? This is crazy.
Yeah. Like I don't.
We walked up the mountain, and it was like hot. It was like hot, with like it's going to blow any minute, and they're like, whatever.
Carpe diem. So I haven't been sick on a vacation per se. Like I've gotten a terrible sunburn. I would say like sick food poisoning. Probably. I got food poisoning. My buddy Blanco and I, who was trying to be on this pod today with us, to fill in to do like a guest spot. And he just has a flight first thing in the morning to go to home. So his morning is right now. For those who don't know this individual, he's in Japan. And we had been planning to do the with our tax refund. We had been planning to do the 72-ounce steak in Amarillo, Texas, and the night before, I had some Papa Doughs in my refrigerator, and I was like, "Oh, it's probably still good. It's only been about 2 days or whatever." So
Papa Dough's the restaurant or the pepper?
Papa Dough's the restaurant, the seafood.
Okay.
And I popped it in the microwave. I think it was like some rice, some alligator tail.
No.
Yep. And I woke up the next day just out of every orifice, like you said, out of every orifice. And he shows up to my door, and I was like, bro, I can't go. And he goes, no, bleep that. We've been planning this for months. And he's like, you said you would take us, because back then I had the big old Impala, the party bus. Remember that car? And I bid it, and I did it, and I was like pulling over at every gas station to crap my brains out.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah. And then I made it to Amarillo. It's like a 3-hour drive from Albuquerque, 4-hour drive from Albuquerque, and I did the challenge. And then I think I'm not welcome back at the Big Texan because I did a number.
I bet
on their I did a number on their restroom as well.
I bet that booth still stinks.
It's probably still full. It's still backed up. So what about your worst time being sick? What about the worst time?
Actual time?
Yes.
My worst time was boot camp. It was the last week or two of boot camp, so it's like
Cadre week,
6 or 7 weeks or something.
It
was right after we got out of Warrior Week, so it was like now we're finishing up and getting ready to do the parade and stuff.
6.
And I had a massive fever. I caught. For those who don't know, there's a Lackland virus, Lackland Air Force Base. In the boot camp, there's a virus that just it's always around because it just jumps between people. It's always moving and always mutating. And I mean, it's really, really bad.
Yeah.
Like a stupid fever. You're coughing up blood. You're peeing blood. Weird things are happening to your poo. It was really, really bad. Final inspection. So the drill sergeant brings in his supervisor to do the last checks on everything, make sure it's perfect. And I was cocooned in my bed.
Oh no!
Drill instructor said, "Don't you fucking move." And I said, "Okay." So I was like in there sweating balls because I had a fever and I couldn't move anywhere.
Yeah.
And then I just overheard her say, "What is that doing?" And he said, "Oh, he's just really sick, ma'am." He said, "Well, he should be in sick call." "Yes, ma'am." "Okay." And my drill instructor was a terrible human being, but I appreciate him not letting me get washed back for that because I don't know if I would have survived. But it came down to after the graduation stuff and all that, or during it, that last day, we had to do a 2-mile run or something to all the parents show up and take their photos and to show all the squadrons running. And I had 102-degree fever. And I said, drill sergeant,
in Texas.
Sergeant Proctor or whatever. Yeah. Luckily it was April, so it wasn't hot or nothing.
Yeah.
But he said, I mean, you got to run, dude. If you don't run, you're going back. I'm sorry. You got to do it. So I ran the 2 miles. I'm pretty sure there's blood spatters on the guy in front of me.
Oh no!
From just coughing.
That's terrible.
I somehow made that run, and then after everything's said and done, and I go see my parents, they take me back to the hotel where they're staying, and I just immediately started ripping off my clothes and got in bed. It was awful. But they do have. I wish I still had some more. They have these lozenges that I've only seen in boot camp. They're yellow.
Yes.
They taste horrible, but they're cure-alls. Like they are like the wonder drug to get you through the day, kind of thing. And you remember those?
Yeah, it's the best cough drop of all time. There's not a better cough drop than that cough drop.
Yeah, I'm sure it's got to be illegal. Like there's no way that's allowed.
Yeah, no, it's. I talk about it still to this day.
I had like 5 more. Yeah, they're great. What about you, man?
Yeah, so my worst time, I was going to say when we first got here, I got pretty good and sick, and I didn't get out of bed for like 3 days. But I think that was just it, okay? But I got back from the mountain called Bear Mountain in in Southern California, and I just, like, my whole body got tight. Like, my muscles got tight, right? And my back got tight, and I just, like, was spasming. I was just, like, laying in bed, like, because I didn't want to move. Because, like, every time I'd move, I'd spasm. And it was just, you know, water poo, the water poo that you, like, you eat something and just water comes out. Like, so I had that going on for, like, 48 hours, and I went to the ER because of that, because I couldn't keep any fluids in, and I couldn't eat. I was, like, severely dehydrated when the doctor saw me at the ER. It was, like, the first time I'd been to the ER in, since I was been an adult, I want to say. And, yeah, they had to give me, like, stool hardener, and they had to give me anti-nausea pills and stuff. I remember I was reading ways to make myself throw up because my stomach was so cramped, and I was like, I don't know if I ate something or what happened, but my stomach was so cramped up, I felt like I had to throw up, if that makes sense. I was like maybe if I throw up, my stomach won't hurt anymore. So
you can't do the finger?
No, I don't. It doesn't work, man. I've tried that 1 billion times. It doesn't work. So, like, I go
Oh, man, it's too bad you're not gay.
It's that's the funny thing is I do have a gag reflex, but it doesn't, like, make me throw up. You know, like, I don't throw up. Okay. It doesn't heave anything out. So I did, like, a saltwater thing where if you drink a certain amount of salt water, it'll make you throw up. And I did that, and I threw up pretty good. But that was probably the worst. Yeah, the worst sick I'd ever been.
Okay.
Outside of that, I think we pretty much crushed this topic for the audience, and I'd be surprised if they make it past the first 10 minutes of us talking about just being
if you want to,
deathly ill.
Next time you want to throw up, just listen to Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Someone was playing
what's
that
the best
in Turkey.
In Turkey? Well, they don't like good music. Best sicktivity. Best thing to do, the activity for sickness.
I'll say video games now. Like, be sick. It's an excuse to maybe get a new video game too, because you know you're going to be there for a while. So you get, like, a new game, and you're just kind of like that, or just, like, get on your phone and put on Netflix and just try to sweat it out. I would say would be the two best activities as an adult. What about you as an adult? What are your best activities?
I mean, I tried video game. I mean, when I'm sick, I'm usually, like, sick, you know, and I'm a baby about it. But honestly, like, I would get excited, like, hey, I'm sick, I can play video games all day, but I really can't. Like, holding the controller just hurts, and, like, looking at something for too long hurts.
Gotcha.
So I get mad that I can't play video games, and then I say, well, what's on Netflix? And then I can't keep my eyes open to fucking watch the show. And I am furious about watching TV to go to bed because I don't want to miss anything.
Gotcha.
So I never do that. You know what I mean? Because, like, what if I miss it? I don't want to go back and, like, find that I had spoilers for ahead, and you know what I mean? So like I can't do that either. Today and yesterday, best I could, I read comics. I have a digital comic on my iPad, so comics are pretty easy to pick up and put down, you know. Otherwise, that's about it. I usually just sit in my thoughts silently.
Yeah, just depressed.
Meditative, I guess.
Depressed. Just sad.
Well, not necessarily sad. Like, for a lot of people, being alone in your thoughts is, like, terrifying, but for me, it's totally normal. Like, just sitting in silence is normal. And, like, having the excuse to, like, you have no choice, you have to just sit here, that's like, okay, that's
you
cool.
have no choice.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I would probably say sleep, too, for me. Sleep is a great activity when I'm sick.
Oh, sure. Oh, boy. And it's the best excuse because, like, you know, sleep when I'm dead and, like, workaholic grind stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not really, I don't really try to subscribe to that belief system, but I have before. And having the opportunity to just sleep is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it's one of the best. What about as a kid? Did you have any activity as a kid?
Oof.
Or a memory?
Video games for sure. I definitely do some video games because back then video games were a lot simpler.
ABC, baby. ABC, baby.
You know what I mean?
ABC.
You could just play Mario or play Zelda or whatever, and it's like a lot less into it, right?
Yeah.
So like there's so many games that they keep track of your status. I play games where you die and you come back to life over and over, and it tracks every death and like it adds up. So like if I die in a certain game, I don't want to have lost those points, you know?
Yeah.
But Mario doesn't matter. So it's okay if you suck because you're sick.
So play forever. I think one of my favorite activity memories as a kid was and I don't know why this always comes back. This is when we lived in a place called Fremont, California, but I got pretty sick. And in hindsight, probably a bad idea. But my parents were young when they had me, right? Like, so they were probably 24 years old when this happened, because I think I was in kindergarten, first grade. But I got really sick, and my dad took me to the arcade in like my sweats and whatever. And like I said, in hindsight, probably a terrible idea. But like I remember he took me to the arcade because I was sick, because I missed school, and he wanted me to feel better. So we played video games together. It's one of like my favorite memories of my dad and me, because I remember like doing the Terminator game. Remember the old Terminator game? In the
I do.
Jurassic Park. Yeah, probably sick all over all that shit. I'm probably the reason why they don't exist anymore.
Yeah, get in the car, son. They're gonna smear your DNA everywhere.
And then we got to go to Blockbuster after that, and we rented a WWF game for Sega Genesis with like Bret Hart, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels on the cover. A lot of people remember it was kind of like crazy. You'd be like Doink the Clown and Yokozuna, and we played that, and I got to sit. You guys hang out in my parents' bedroom because he had the Sega in his bedroom, and I just remember that day as one of the best activity days, being sick like ever.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. Yeah, different. All right, so on that, going back and forth, and now we have school versus work, difficulties, benefits, etc. I'll tell you one thing is I've probably faked sick 3 times in my life. Post school, I've faked sick in school like 20,000 times.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's different.
'Cause, well, for one thing, me and you were both in the service, so like in the military, if you're sick, that means you're going to sick call. So you have to find a way to get to the hospital, wait in the line for the doctor, and the doctor writes you a note. Then you got to bring it to the work. Like, so if you're sick, you got to spend half the day proving that you're sick. So just don't be sick. Or if you are sick, then just go to work until someone sends you home so you get germs on everybody. Yeah. It's ridiculous. But I understand.
The walk-in. You have to go to the walk-in, too, where everybody that's sick is all together at the hospital.
Yeah.
Like you said, sick call, but it's like literally we call it walk-in hours because you don't have an appointment. And so you all have to be there at the same time because nobody has an appointment. Okay. All right. So during school, you said 20,000 times. I will be honest. I did not cut class I wasn't allowed to fake sick. My parents wouldn't allow it. They're like, go to school. Like, we don't give a fuck. Like, you're going to school. Like, you know, like that's just how they were. But I didn't cut class till senior year when I knew I was graduating. Like when I knew for sure 100%. There's like I would have to royally bleep up everything to not graduate. Right. Once I knew I was graduating, I was like, why am I here? You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I like once football season was over? Yeah. At the beginning of the year, I was just kind of like it was basically my first year of college because I treated it like college. I was like, I'm gonna go to the classes I need, and I'm gonna show up at the end of the classes I don't need that I can just walk through. I think I had like 4 weightlifting classes my senior year in high school. So yeah, I didn't do that, and I don't really call in sick to work. Like I think we talked about jobs on one of our podcasts, and I even went to work with like strep throat once, and they're like, "Get the bleep out of here! Like, why are you here? Like, you're gonna get everyone sick." And I was like, "Well, who else is gonna open the store? Like, I'm the only one that opens the store." So, yeah, I don't know, man. School versus work. I guess it's weird because you said something. You said like you don't do that as an adult, like maybe 3 times in your whole adult life. Americans don't use sick days. Yep. It's so everyone thinks we're weird, right? Because you've been overseas in Europe as well, right? Where they think we're crazy.
They barely even show up. Like they show up to work, kind of.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane. Like they have a 20-minute coffee break, and then they have a 2-hour wine break. What are you guys doing? That's why you're a third world country, literally. But anyway, at the same time, it's definitely not healthy American practices. And then you go to like Japan has had that problem where employees would just fall. They would just spontaneously die because they were overworked and they didn't want to ever, cut profits or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's probably not super healthy, but I've kind of always done what my granddad said and try to be the hardest worker in the room. Shout out to The Rock. Same policy. But
we're not living like The Rock.
People rely on me. No. But people rely on me at my job, and I try to stay by my word, so I'm not gonna be a dickhead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the times that I've called in sick was actually just recently, and it was because I was so burnt out from my job, and I was already leaving anyway, and I just didn't have the mental energy to come into work. And that's what I said. I didn't fake sick. I was like, I just can't make it today. I'm not gonna make it in. Can't do it.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, though.
But a mental health day is viable. Mental health day should be like just as celebrated as a sick day, more or less.
Sprint had stress leave.
Gotta start taking care of ourselves, guys.
Sprint had stress leave, and it was
stress. It
wasn't like you weren't supposed to use it, but you could. It was one of those things, right? You know what I'm saying? Like where it's like, hey, we have this. Don't you use it? Don't you ever use it? No. But like I remember one guy did use it, and he was explaining to me, he's like, dude, I got like 6 weeks off. He's like, it's not free. It's like it's half pay, right? You get half your paycheck. But it's stress leave. Yeah. And he's like, I was overworked. I knew that they're selling to T-Mobile, and I knew they were going to eliminate my job. Yeah. And I was just like, I needed a break. I needed to leave. And he's like, so I took stress leave for like 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Wow. He used it up.
Yeah, that's like my uncle is a partner in an accounting firm in Denver. Pretty big one. It's international, and he's rich, and that's super cool. But accountants in general have very stressful lives, but as a partner, even more so. I'm assuming. But they force vacations on them. They said you're leaving, and we'll pay for it if you want. Like, see ya. Like, get the hell out of here. After tax season's over, you're gone. Like, they make you take a vacation so you don't fucking kill yourself.
So you don't go up to the top of that building you work in.
Yeah. They lock those windows now.
Ever since Crocodile Dundee. As you can tell, Josh is not faking it this time. He did not call in. He is here, and he is powering through.
I'm still sweating.
What is our next topic, bud? Probably our
last one
topic.
Up. We got best excuse given or received.
Okay.
What do you got? That's a pretty good topic.
Oh, so probably when I was in high school, I was a supervisor of an electronics department at Kmart. Blue light special. Attention Kmart shoppers. But yeah, I went to the lake for a thing called Frog Jump, and it's based on the Mark Twain book, The Jumping Frog of Calaveras County, I think is what it's called. And it's a big celebration where I went to high school, and it's like 4 days long. And I had money because I had my landscaping company too. I had the supervisor job at Kmart. And so I had obviously no rent, no bills. So I had a bunch of money, and my brother and I rented out like a whole campsite at a place called New Maloney's Lake. And we had the girls' soccer team was there at one point. We had a bunch of kids that we knew that had gone off to college there at one point that were back for the fair. And I didn't want to go to work, so I called into Kmart, and I said, the teeth on my transmission are broke. I don't know what to tell you. I can't make it in. I didn't even know what it meant. I was just making shit up. I was like, yeah, so
that's good.
The teeth on the transmission are spent. They're broken. The repair guy says it's going to be, like 3 days. I'm going to need to get my shifts covered. I'm so sorry, Stephanie. I think that was her name, Stephanie. I can't make it. And she's like, well, if you can't make it. I was like, I can't make it. And then I hung up the phone, and I got hammered. Oh, foreign exchange students were out there. I remember a guy, Carlos, and I don't know. We got hammered, basically. He was from Colombia. He was a cool dude. it was one of those times where you're like, if I leave this place, I'm gonna regret it. So I called in sick. Wasn't actually sick.
This is your Ferris.
Yeah.
Your Ferris Bueller day.
That was my Ferris Bueller day, exactly. So I'll do my best excuse I ever received in a bit. Why don't you go with your best excuse?
Oh, I'm not sure. I have a really good one, but if you don't want to go to work, folks, just say you got diarrhea.
Yes,
because that's just what you say.
Yep.
Even though it's kind of bullshit, but I mean, depending on your job, some jobs, yeah, if you got diarrhea, you're not gonna have a good day. But most jobs, you can just go to the bathroom. Like, shut up. But what I said to a buddy, or my buddy was my boss at the time, I said, "'Cause my butt," and that was understood to be diarrhea.
Gotcha. That's a good excuse, though. I dig that. That's funny that you said that. In the military, we have to do leadership school and all this stuff. And, a person that we have in common, supervisor, said, "Hey, you guys are going to be going to ALS soon, Airman Leadership School. And I'm just going to let you guys know, if you're ever late, obviously they don't tolerate that or it'll get you in trouble. But he's like, just say you had diarrhea every single time." He's like, "What are they going to do? Go check?" Like, just say, "I had diarrhea." Every single time. He's like, they're never going to... And he goes, "You guys are looking at me because you're young like I'm joking. I'm not joking." So I like it. I think it's funny. I would say the best excuse. It is. You can't go wrong with that. The best excuse I've ever received from an employee. That's a thinker. But I would say I had a young lady who... she was a single mom who lived with her mom, who was also a single mom, right? And I never questioned my employees. I'm not that type of leader. I'm just like, whatever. But she always felt like she had to make some shit up. She was one of those people, like, even though I'm just like, you're sick, like, stay home.
Yeah.
I
don't want the story.
And she'd be like, "Oh, I was trying really hard to drive in and fry, like, I sneezed and so much, like, mucus came out, and I was like, I just can't be at work today." And I'm like, I don't care. Like, you're sick. Like, it doesn't. And then she did have one with her daughter came home from kindergarten and gave everyone lice. It wasn't even sick. Like, they all have lice now. And it's like, it's funny because, like, one thing that you need to know, again, America, like Josh said, we're not gonna check. We're not doctors. Right? It's not an episode of The Office. Yeah. It just, you're sick. Like, that's it. That's the end of the discussion. As long as you have sick days, you should feel entitled to take your sick days. Outside of that, deal with your own conscience.
I mean, the times are tough, and people got kids to feed, and I understand if you got to get to work, you got to get to work. But if you don't have to go to work, then have diarrhea. That's just the rule.
Just be sick.
We had a guy at my last job working at the cannabis farm. He called in quite often. It was almost once a week that he would call me and say, "I'm not feeling too good. I'm really dizzy." And I'm like, "Dude, it's fine. I'll see you tomorrow. No problem." And it was pretty regular. And it was like, this guy gets dizzy a lot. And I never questioned him on it, but I talked to my boss about it. I was like, what is this guy's problem? And then he told me, "Yeah, this guy's got, he gets seizures pretty regularly, and he can tell they're coming by how dizzy he gets, so he stays home. And we're not going to let him have a seizure at the job, so we're going to let him stay home." I was like, "Oh, that makes perfect sense." So it was a legit excuse.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't call him on it, because that'd be discrimination. And it was fine. It's whatever. You got a medical issue, you got a medical issue. But
real sick.
He's a good guy, too.
He's real sick.
Yeah.
Not the flu or the cold, which have shortened today's episode and shortened today's cast and crew, right? Because we got to get you on, buddy. I can hear the snivels. I can hear it. And luckily, your HD camera is not working as well as we would like, because we can't see the snot in your beard or your mustache. The sweat. I like that you put on your beanie to just sweat it all out.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go throw a blanket on my head and go to bed.
GORPers.
But yeah, it's been a pleasure, y'all. The GORP heads, they can find us at GORP Show on Twitter, and GORP Show on Instagram. I'm JR Berkeley at Instagrams.
And there should be, after the holidays, some artwork coming out with our faces on it that you're going to put together, right? Once you get set up there, that they can purchase hopefully soon. I think it's going to be like started with T-shirts or something like that, because that's what we can afford on our budget.
Yeah, we're going to work on some merch. Definitely going to work on some merch.
On our budget right now. But if they want to reach the show, they can get to us. YouTube has finally given us a handle, and it is at TheSadFan Podcast Network 7162. And you can just find us at on YouTube, TheSadFan Podcast Network. And it's TheSadFan is all one word. And you can reach me at TheSadFan, and you have us again on Twitter at TheSadFanCast. So don't be shy. Let us know how we're doing. We love the comments. Yep. We will joke back and forth. And Josh mainly razzes me about random things on there. So if you want to see him just making fun of me for no reason, just to make fun of me, Coach.
For no reason, just mean.
Just check that out.
Also, feel free to throw us topics, because the original idea for this was that fans dictate what we talk about. So we'd like to get on that train eventually. Feel free to throw us any topics or any themes, whatever you want to do. It's wide open.
Thanks so much for making it in sick, buddy. And as always, audience, subscribe, rate, and review. We'll see you next week, hopefully healthier.